Hello ghouls and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Haley Addams, and if you like all things creepy, kooky, mysterious, and spooky, I suggest you hit that subscribe button down below. Now, this is where I make a joke about my returning viewers being victims. I don't want to make a joke about that today because if you have seen this movie that I'm about to talk about, you are a victim. Today we have another episode of Horror Chats, a series where I chat about horror and presumably you listen, I hope. Now, today's movie doesn't quite fit the horror requirement in the basic sense. You know, there's really no blood, there's no man in a mask, though there is a horrible Shining ripoff at one point. My God. Today's movie is horrific, however, in the sense that it's bad. So bad. So bad that the Razzies didn't even touch it because they don't have a category for a movie that makes you want to waterboard yourself after you've seen it. The movie we're talking about today is David Payne. How appropriate that his last name is Payne. David Payne's 1998 movie, The Addams Family Reunion. Ever heard of it? No? Lucky. Okay, the plot. The movie starts with an obscenely long scene of a mailman trying to put mail in the Addams mailbox, and it goes on for what feels like 50 minutes. It's really 5. And then you never see this guy again, even though we just wasted half the movie on him. So it starts out like that, so that's how you know where this movie's going. But basically the plot is Gomez, who's played by Tim Curry, you know, the ultra fabulous, extremely talented Tim Curry. How did he end up in this movie? That's for later. His grandparents come to stay. His grandma is George Costanza's mom, Estelle Harris, and his grandpa is Kevin McCarthy. I don't know, he's in Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They come to stay with them, but they're turning normal. They start being like normal. They call it Walzheimer's. Yeah, they call it Walzheimer's. Well, this puts Gomez in distress, and he thinks what would cure them is an Addams Family reunion. He thinks some branch of their family would figure out how to fix them. By the way, not so subtle ripoff of what was going on with Pubert in the Addams Family Values, but whatever. So Gomez writes the invitation for the rest of the Addams family. He writes it in blood because they're so edgy and creepy. So the invitation is written in blood. Well, for whatever reason, that short circuits the post office. The fact that I don't know, you guys. I don't know. That short circuits the post office. So the invitation goes to the wrong Addamses. It goes to just plain old boring 1D Addams. So the family, minus Grandmama and Cousin It, for whatever reason, they stay at the house because it works well for the next plot point. They stay, but the rest of the family, they head to this luxury resort for this Addams Family reunion. This is where they meet the normal 1D Addams. The main player is Ed Begley Jr. No, I don't actually remember his character's name. I'm just going to call him Ed Begley Jr. the whole time. They meet him, and he's like super rich, and like his dad's super rich, so he wants to poison him for his money. And then Ed Begley Jr.'s sister, she also like wants to poison their dad for his money, so she blackmails like her brother about it. But Ed Begley Jr. is a doctor, so this makes Gomez super excited. He's like, cure my grandparents! And this guy's like, you're weird! Yeah. So back at the Addams family house, a pair of 1D Addams, they get lost going to the reunion. It's like, I don't know, you guys, I don't know. They get lost. So they end up at the house where Grandmama and Cousin It are, and they end up staying there. They don't just like get directions and continue on. I don't remember if like they kept them hostage or not. I've seen this movie twice, okay? I've seen it twice. Twice was too many. I went to rewatch it to do this video, and I could not make it past 15 minutes. I'm sorry. Sorry if things are a little fuzzy. But they're there and hijinks ensue, but it's more just mind-numbing antics, pretty much. I don't know. Cousin It like plays poker with the one guy and takes all his money, and like Grandmama, this is where the stupid Shining thing comes in. She chases the other one around with an axe, like chops down the door, and obviously she goes, I hear Johnny. I was like, boo. So that's what's going on there. So back at the resort now, Pugsley, he's played by Jerry Messing, but you probably know him as the Milady Fedora meme guy. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'll put a picture there. Yeah, that's him. Hilarious. He gets the hots for one of the 1D Addams, who that's super weird because they don't realize there's been a mistake and that they are not related. So he fully just has the hots for who he thinks is his cousin this whole time. And this is also another rip-off of the actually good 90s movies because Pugsley gets the hots for this nerdy girl. And it's like, okay, Wednesday and Joel, they just flipped it. So speaking of Wednesday, she's played by Nicole Fugare. I think that's how you say her last name. She played her in the Canadian show in the 90s, which I'll talk about a little bit later. She just spends her time terrorizing the normies at this resort, because people saw Christina Ricci's Wednesday in the 90s movies and they ignored everything about her except for the fact that she likes to torture people, and that's just been a plot point for Wednesday from forever. My eyelash is coming off. Ignore that. Anyway, she's terrorizing these normie people. Okay, you want to know what Fester's up to? It's on site with this Fester, I swear to God. He is played by Patrick Thomas, who I hope has done better things in his life than this movie. He and Thing spend their time chasing around this mutated dog that Fester created. I think it was supposed to be a present for Pugsley. They're chasing this dog around. This dog just wants to eat hair. God, you guys. So Gomez is still harassing Ed Begley Jr. and he's like, "How are my grandparents?" And Ed Begley Jr. is like, "No, fuck you guys." So they get a bet going. I don't know. I think Ed Begley Jr. wanted something from Gomez as well. I don't remember. So they do this triathlon. They play tennis. Gomez wins everything, by being Gomez. Surprise. Nobody saw that coming. Well, this makes Ed Begley Jr. mad. He attacks Gomez with a knife. Yeah, we're doing knife fights now. So he attacks him. The police are called and they arrest Gomez and Morticia for attempted murder. Yeah, we're this far into the plot description and it's the first time Morticia has been mentioned because she's useless in this movie. She's played by Daryl Hannah, big name. I've seen a lot of Daryl Hannah movies because she's in a lot of movies with Jennifer Tilly and I will watch any Jennifer Tilly movie, so I've seen a lot of her stuff. She's talented. Awful in this. Useless. Terrible. So yeah, they go to jail. Then Wednesday and Pugsley are arrested for digging graves on the hotel property. It's funny when I'm describing it. It's awful to watch. Yeah, they're arrested for digging graves. Then Fester is put in a mental institution, which is where he belongs. He's put in an institution. Thing and the hair-eating dog, they're caught by a dog catcher who's played by Clint Howard, who's uncredited in the role, but we all know that you look at Clint Howard and you know who that is. They're caught by him. If you're wondering about Lurch, because yeah, Lurch has been there this whole time. He rescued a drowning lady earlier and made out with her a bit too long after the CPRing, and then she thought he was a pervert or something. That's been his major plot point. But Wednesday buried him alive, so he's just been in the ground. This whole time he's buried underground. So Wednesday and Pugsley are put in foster care with Ed Begley Jr.'s wife and family, but they just torture them the whole time. And then Ed Begley Jr. takes custody of Fester. He adopts him to torture him. He puts him in an electric chair, but Fester likes it. I don't know. Okay, so you guys remember when I said Ed Begley Jr. wanted to murder his dad? Well, this dad, he likes the Double D Addams. Because compared to his murderous son, they're normal. I guess that was the point that this movie was trying to make. Blood's tired, it's played out, we get it. He likes them, so he bails out Gomez and Morticia. They go and get Wednesday and Pugsley. They get Thing and the hair-eating dog back and Fester back somehow. They go home and everything's fine and dandy, but Pugsley's like, oh man, I left my rocket at my foster parents' house. And turns out this rocket was like a nuclear bomb. And the movie ends with it like exploding in Ed Begley Jr.'s house. And then there's some horrible doo-wop version of the theme song that plays, and that's the end. So let's talk about it. Like I said earlier, normally I will go back and I will watch the movie that I'm about to talk about, so like I can, talk about it with it fresh in my brain and pick little things that I want to like address, but I couldn't do it. Every time I've seen this movie, it gets worse. Like it physically hurts my brain, but luckily you can find plot descriptions on the internet, so that helped me out a lot. Basically, this movie happened because they wanted a third movie to go along with the Addams Family and the Addams Family Values that came out in 1992 and 1994. Don't quote me on that. It was sometime around then. They wanted a sequel to it, a trequel, if you will. However, there was actually supposed to be a good theatrically released third Addams Family movie, directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, just like the others have been. That didn't happen because, unfortunately, Raul Julia, who played Gomez, he passed away, and just nobody else wanted to do it without him, which is valid. So this studio was like, hold my beer, direct to video. Here we fucking go. Another thing they thought they could do with this movie, I call it a movie in the very basic sense of the word, was be basically a pilot for a television series. Now, in 1998 in Canada, the new Addams Family was on TV. I think it ran for 2 seasons, kind of like the original show. I actually don't know if this served as the pilot for that. I don't actually think they ended up being related. Again, don't quote me on that. Things were very fuzzy and unclear, but I don't relate the two together because I actually enjoyed the new Addams Family. Is it bad? Yeah, it's really bad. However, it's bad in a fun way. I enjoy watching it. I think all of the actors did a good job. The writing was far superior to this movie. Doesn't make you want to yank your eyebrow hairs out as you are watching it. It's a fun time. You can find some episodes free on YouTube if you felt like it. And the only cast member that was the same from this awful movie to that series was Wednesday. So I think something just kind of went off the rails there. I don't know, but I don't actually think they are related. That makes sense. Now, it's kind of funny, and I feel for the guy. The director, David Payne, he originally wanted this movie to be like a dark comedy, almost. He said, like, and I quote, he wanted to go a Coen Brothers route with it, which obviously did not happen. The studio was like, no, you're gonna do what they did, but 10 times worse. And that is what happened. So the poor man, he was shot down every single idea he had, which is kind of unfortunate because I would like the actual Coen Brothers to do an Addams Family movie. That would be amazing. So I'm sat. Sign me up. Cast me also. Now, as for the cast, these bozos wanted the entire original cast from the Addams Family and Addams Family Values. Now, they said at the time they thought Christina Ricci and Jimmy Workman were too old, so they were not considered for Wednesday and Pugsley, but they asked Angelica Houston and Christopher Lloyd, to be in this movie. Both said they declined out of respect for Raul Julia. Yeah, they declined out of respect for Raul Julia, which is valid, and I do believe them when they say that, but also I think they declined out of respect for their careers as well. Angelica Houston in a direct? Are you kidding me? The only original cast members that did return were Carol Struckian, who plays Lurch. I think that's how you say his last name. I'm very sorry. And Christopher Hart, who plays Thing. And I like to believe that these two were asked first, and they're like, oh yeah, yeah, Christopher and Angelica, they're gonna do it for sure. Let's sign up. And then they like get to like the table reading. There's like, huh? We were duped. But good for them. They both gave the best performances in the whole movie because neither of them speak. Let's get to Mr. Tim Curry. When he was cast, he and the director both decided that Gomez should be played weird and not, and I quote, like a Latin Lothario, like Raul Julia did. Well, first of all, Tim Curry's not Latin, so obviously, yeah, that's out the door. But Gomez has always been weird. That's why he's hot. I can't name a version of Gomez that isn't weird in some way. So they missed the mark on that. And you can be weird and hot at the same time. Dr. Frankenfurter should know that better than anyone. Like Dr. Frankenfurter would bang. That's not the point, but you get it. Now Tim Curry, amazing, fantastic. I think he is the highlight of any movie he is in. Like, he is so good. He's so good. That just goes to show you how shitty this movie is that not even he could save it. Most people will say, okay, yeah, that movie was terrible, but Tim Curry was pretty good. And I'm like, but I couldn't get over the fact that he just sounded like Nigel Thornberry the whole time. You know, he is the voice of Nigel Thornberry, so it makes sense. But that was just the voice he did through the whole movie to me. But it's appropriate because this movie makes me want to act like Donnie Thornberry, just go. Now, as for Miss Daryl Hannah, why was she here? What was happening? She was giving nothing. Morticia may as well have been on vacation in this movie. She served no purpose, which is so frustrating for someone who loves Morticia so much. It's like, didn't do anything. Homegirl did nothing. She just stood there. Now, I'm not knocking Daryl Hannah. I am knocking the writing and the direction and the costuming and the makeup and the hair that was given to her because all of it was wrong. Okay, I liked her dress. That was it. She did not look like Morticia. She looked like Vampira. If you were to show me a photo of Daryl Hannah from this movie and said, hey, look, they did a vampire biopic, I would have been like, nailed it, perfect. Yeah, no. The eyebrows? What were the eyebrows? The bobby pins in her hair is what really gets me. the bobby pins, right? Why? Because okay, we're gonna get into Morticia's hair a little bit now because both Carolyn Jones and Angelica Houston had volume, like right here, and then their hair was like straight, kind of wavy. They had volume here. They didn't put. I can't get over it. It was a choice, and it was the wrong choice. Magic can be done with wigs. Both Carolyn and Angelica wore wigs. Do you wear wigs? No, I do not. Have you worn wigs? You don't. As for fucking Fester. It's like this man was trying to be Jackie Coogan, but if Jackie Coogan drank 5 Red Bulls and also became the most insufferable person on the planet. That's all I have to say about him. I don't wish this actor any ill will. I hope he's doing well. But I also think he should have gone to jail because of this performance. And that's all I got to say about Fester. Now, obviously, this movie is just on YouTube for free. No one should have to pay for it. So, you know, if you hate yourself and you feel like a fun activity tonight watching it, it's a perfect thing to do. Or if you have guests and you really want them to get the hell out of your house, throw this on and they're going to be leaving in droves, I promise you. Now, this movie, we're going to get into ratings now. On IMDb, it has a 3.9 out of 10, which I think is generous. It doesn't even have a score from Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes did not even score it, but it has an audience score on Rotten Tomatoes of 33%. And the average rating for it on Letterboxd is 2.4 out of 5, which again I think is a little bit generous. Now this was direct to home video, so obviously there's no box office sales or anything like that. I couldn't find numbers on home video sales, if that's even a thing. I could have found, like, I didn't try that hard, but I didn't find any numbers on it, but I bet it was low. This movie feels to me like the kind of movie, so you were a kid, you went to your grandparents' house, they didn't have cable, but they had a shit ton of VHSs just in a box. It feels like you would pull it out to watch with Gramps and Gramps on an afternoon after eating a popsicle or something. Maybe worse than the video my grandparents had. They had this pirate who was like in his basement. I swear he was videotaping this like in his basement, singing like the Pirates of Panache song, and his fly was down. I would take that over this movie any day. Clearly I don't have anything nice to say about this movie. I'm making Thumper very upset. But because I don't have anything nice to say, I asked you guys what you thought of this movie. So if you contributed, thank you very much. We're gonna read what some people had to say about this. So my good friend Cake in a Basket on Tumblr, you can find her there, go follow her. She says Morticia is so useless in this movie, they could have left her out completely and it wouldn't have made a difference. She also said Gomez and Morticia should have practiced social distancing because every scene they have together is horribly awkward. Facts. It's another one. I would have been happy to help, with my question, what do you think about this movie? But I didn't watch that one. I mean, I tried once, but I didn't continue. Good for you. Okay, in the conservatory, you can find her on Instagram. I recommend following her for sure. She says, she actually gave me like a detailed, thoughtful review. The film feels like a surreal and disorienting journey into the unknown. The storyline is convoluted and difficult to follow, and the acting performances could certainly use improvement. It's not until the pivotal scene where Gomez is assaulted while Morticia looks on that the movie finally managed to capture your undivided attention. That's true, because you pull a knife out in a children's movie, you're gonna pay attention. Okay, here's another one. It's a movie that exists. This is visually repulsive. Ideal for children who are too scared of the 90s Addams Family and for those children only. While I agree on a deeper level, I think this is far worse than anything that happened in the 90s movies. Okay, now these next comments are from my TikTok. B says, it's the Wish version of an Addams Family movie. Tim Curry is the only good part of this movie. Artful Frogger says, the only thing memorable about this film is that it sucks. So true. Robert Reese said, I saw it on TV when my sister was watching. I went outside to watch grass grow. I figured it'd be a better use of my time. That's true, Robert. Paranormal Mike said, the entire time I was thinking, ugh, the budget. This feels like a pitch pilot for a TV show. Sure as shit, it was. Okay, now I did have one person with something nice to say. Okay, you can find her on TikTok at Farmer Addams or here on YouTube. She goes by Red Rum, all under lowercase except for the M. I do recommend that you go follow her. She does some urban legend videos, really interesting, and overall she has good takes on things. Not this movie. Not this movie, because she called it a fun watch and a good time, good for a laugh. To each their own, but I just wanted to highlight that one person said something nice about this movie while it makes my eye twitch. Now, I love the Addams Family. If that wasn't clear, my name on here is Haley Addams. My cat is named Gomez. So it's a thing that's important to me. I just think there's something so beautiful about a family that's just 100% themselves, not afraid to be themselves, even when it's really, really fucking bizarre. I think that's wonderful. They find beauty in the macabre and in the strange, and I think if we all tried to live like an Addams, things would just be better in the world. Which is why I find this movie so offensive. It's like they didn't even try. The modern equivalent is like if you told AI, hey, make an Addams Family movie, this is what it would spit out. Every character just kind of felt like a caricature of the past iterations, like just being over the top, not nailing it at all. Except for Morticia, she was not a caricature, she was a hollow shell of Morticia. But I don't even want to call her a shell, because she didn't even look like her. Gomez and Morticia had zero chemistry. How you don't have chemistry with Tim Curry? Beyond me. They had zero chemistry. The CGI was awful, which is a comment I got from a lot of you guys when I asked about it. And I know we should like give them slack because it was 1998, but also there were other movies at the time using the same amount of technology and doing a hell of a lot better than this movie. So I don't want to give them slack. And never in my life have I felt such hatred for Uncle Fester. I hated him so much. Like, it's on sight. Now, I am going to give this movie one singular prop. It made me laugh once, and that was when Pugsley told that nerdy girl that he inherited his father's spastic colon. Because, yeah, me too, Pugsley. That's all I got. That's all I have to say. Have you seen this movie? Have you even heard of it before today? Do you like this movie? If you do, I'm really sorry. I sat here for 15, 20 minutes bashing it. I apologize. You know, we can agree to disagree. These are movies, not human rights. You know, it's okay that we don't like the same things. But if I've piqued your curiosity and now you do want to go watch this, don't. I'm strongly advising you against it. But if you do, come back. Let me know what you think. That is, if your brains did not leak out of your ears in the process. That does it for this episode of Horror Chats. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. If you have a movie you are just dying for me to talk about, let me know in the comments. Perhaps I'll get to it. I promise I'll talk about an actual good movie next time. I don't think I can take another one of these movies. But if you are dying for some spooky content between my uploads, you can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at @it's_Haley Addams there as well. Yeah, that does it for today. So thank you so much for watching. Do something spooky today, and I'll see you in your dreams. And now that this is necessary. Good night!